What's up? What's up? What's up? Your boy Savage, aka Sev Cisneros. You tune in to the Sev Lokes Hood Tales 2.0. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Let's get to the politics. Big shout out to everybody showing the channel love. Appreciate the love and support. Thank you for the interactions. All high salute to all the riders out there. Before I start this video, I am no way means promoting gang life or the gang culture. I'm just telling the testimony, giving life experiences, and shining some light on the Denver Metro. Trying to open up people's eyes to different things. It is what it is. So let's get to this video. And in this video, let me take you back to a story time when I was at Benton County Correctional Facility in 2000, I think 8 or 9. Yeah, I was at Benton County Correctional Facility because I had like four years to my MRD. So anyways, around that time, I get blessed to go to the Halfway House Phoenix Center. At the time, I had already had like 5 years in, you know what I'm saying? And they accept me to the Halfway House Phoenix Center in Commerce City. So I was pretty happy. I get to the Phoenix Center, and there's some fools that I know up there, some of the homies up there. One of my good partner, Lurch, I knew him from the joint, the east side. Knew him for a little minute. Well, he comes up to me one day and he said a little youngster rode up, and he said that the youngster said he messed with, some of the lokes, some of the keyways in Aurora and in the east side, and this fool was native and Spanish, so he's like, go chop it up with him. So I go chop it up with him. When I see this fool, it looked like this fool had been institutionalized for 30 plus years. He had this look on him. And you know what I'm saying? He just used to mug. You could tell he was, in his mind, he was bigger than he really was, because this little fool was kind of, shorter. He didn't really have muscle, but his demeanor was like, real serious, bro. So I started chopping it up with him. And me and this fool start talking, and, he starts running it down where he's from. He's from Aurora, but he kicked in the east side, and, he gravitated towards the lokes. So me being who I am, you know what I'm saying? I give him some advice, and I kind of take him under my wing. He starts chilling with me. And at the time, he was actually, a cool little dude, bro. You know what I'm saying? And, he told me about his story, about, his family kind of disowning him. So I kind of had a heart for the little dude. I started, taking him under my wing. I started giving that fool allowance, money to catch the bus. If he needed, some money to, when he was out there on job search to get some lunch, I'd break him off a little bit of bread, So I was taking care of the little fool. Well, this fool got comfortable, and one day this fool got drunk, and he went back to the halfway house, bro, and, he was drunk and, out of place. And they gave him a couple warnings, but then he started doing it over and over and over. So I'm over there for like 3 weeks, okay, at the Phoenix Center. And this fool, they regress him back to DOC. And but before he goes back to DOC, homie's like, hey, homie, how do I start messing with your homie? So basically, he wanted to start riding with the turf. He wanted to start riding with the hood. So, you know what I'm saying? I said, hey, bro, this is not the time to do that, but stay communicated up with me. You know what I'm saying? I'll introduce you to homies. So I introduce him, bro. He starts kind of prospecting for the hood. And for a long time, he was really, communicating. So he was on it. And even in the penitentiary, that fool, he went up there and he communicated. He went back. So then I regress from the halfway house back to DOC. I had about like 3 years left to MRD. And when they regress me, they take me back to Benton County Correctional Facility. And sure enough, the little fool, he's at Benton County Correctional Facility. Wow, this fool started saying he was Baby Sev. That's what he kept telling fools on the yard. So when I roll up, basically, when I roll up, they start saying, hey, what of your little homies is on the yard, Baby Sev? And I said, Baby Sev, So that means he was saying that he was my direct little homie. So it's crazy, bro. I end up going to, his unit. And that's where I was, in his unit. I was in his pod, and he started basically being under me, going by Baby Sev. So when I hit the compound, there was word that he was chilling with the LPP fools. And later down the road, this fool became such a sucker, bro. The little fool that went by Baby Sev, he became a straight sucker. You know what I'm saying? And this was like years after he got put on the hood. So when I get up there, he's, basically hasn't done a lot of time though. So the LPPs try to grab him right away. So when I pull up to the yard, fools were saying he was basically sitting at their tables, and I hit him up right away. Like, we don't do that, homie. Like, I don't know what you think. That's not the way to, hold yourself up to the high. You come in here and say where you from and represent. But, people were saying that's not what, was happening. So when I pulled up, it was put into play. That's what he had to do. He had to ride with the homies and with me. So we're on the yard, bro. And when I pull up to that unit, there's this fool, they call him Big Hungry. Big Hungry, from what people said and what he said, he was a Texas syndicate. And this fool had this demeanor, and you could just tell when somebody don't like you. I don't know if it was because fools were Spanish Crips and, we wasn't black or whatever, but he just didn't like us. You could tell his demeanor. Like, he didn't never said anything, but his demeanor was always just like, he had this, this face, and I always could tell, bro, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of, was being spiteful and doing things that, will piss him off, let's say. And this fool, Big Hungry, I'm saying he was like the biggest dude in the unit. He's like 6'5", and I swear this fool's like 300 pounds. And this fool's, he's like a fool that basically looks like he ate $75 sacks every week. And he just walked around like a bully, really, to be truthful, like who he interacted with. So I would blatantly do stuff to piss him off. I will blatantly see the homie and be like, "What's up, cuz?" Just in his ear, for he knew where Foos was from. And you could tell over time, he started not liking that, and he started really having this demeanor. But I didn't like him because he just didn't like us off top, just because who we were and who we politicked. And he just holded us out like a bully. So my homie that was up there, my ex-homie that was up there, his Sally, Hungry Sally, this fool is some little Sureño fool. And it's crazy because now I understand Texas syndicates don't really mess with Sureños. But on the Bend County yard, this fool was messing with, the Sureños. Like, he would do business with them fools, and he was cool with them fools. So his Sally's a little youngster from Sureños. My homie's cool with that fool. And one day he's in basically the Sal, and he's talking to the Sureño fool while that fool comes in, and he just throws his weight like, "You got to get out, little homie, out of my Sal." So the homie comes, tells me, I was like, "What's up with that little fool?" So anyways, that same day, like in the afternoon, we get our phone time, and he's on the phone, and the fool Hungry's on the phone, and my little homie's walking by, and he's like, "Hey, Weaver," he called him by his government. He said, "Hey, homie, go get me something out of my Sal." And the homie's like, he laughed at the fool and like, "Bro," he's thinking it was South. He told me, he said, "This is not the big homie. So, and I don't really even know you, and I don't really even dig you." So he laughed, and he just kind of walked off like, "Who is this fool telling me to go get something out of his Sal?" While that fool Hungry, he got off the phone and he went upstairs. He didn't even trip that day. He let it, you know what I'm saying? He let it basically get to him. His pride basically played in the situation. He started overthinking it. Like, this little fool disrespected me in front of fools. He's probably thinking people seen it. So he let his pride get the best of him, bro. And he went to sleep. Nothing happened that day. The next day, we get up for chow, me and the homie, because we're working out together now. He's, on a program. And we go do legs that day. I remember this like it was yesterday. We go do legs with the homie J-Lo from 60s, and the homie Skrill from 60s, and then, the homie Baby T-Bone and all them fools, we were working out. We did legs, and we did pretty harsh legs. So my legs was broke off. Well, we come back after morning yard, and pretty much we're about to go to chow, and me and the little homie, we're playing bones. Boom. And all of a sudden, I see this big old gorilla fool, big old bully coming down, and he's making the whole unit shake. And he's pissed. You could see he's pissed. So it's me and the little homie that they call Baby Sev. We'll call him Ace. We're sitting at the table, and he comes straight up to the table, and he looks out the little homie. And you got to understand, the little homie was very little. He was not a big dude. He's not tall at all. He don't have really any muscle. And at the time, I'm recouping from getting shot. My therapy, like, I got shot before I went to prison, and I was still messed up, so I was doing rehab, but my body was getting a little strong. He looks at little Ace, and he says, "Bitch, you didn't hear me yesterday?" So he didn't check it the day it happened, but the next day he dwelled on it. He comes over the table like, "Bitch, you didn't hear me yesterday? You was disrespecting me." And the size difference alone pissed me off. So I hopped up like, "Who is you talking to, homie? What's up?" And this fool was like, "Oh, you could get it too." So I said, "Bet." And I hopped up. He walks up, and he walks to us out. And just to be honest, some of the homies were at program, so we're outnumbered in the situation in this unit. I don't care. Like, I'm not thinking about that. I just heard him call the homie a bitch. He's the little homie at the time. And I'm not going to let the little homie take the fade with this big old overgrown 6'5", 300 pounds, because this fool got mad because the homie didn't go get his pad like he was his little homie. So he walks up, and I get up. I walk up the stairs, and he goes into the corner cell. His corner cell is right here. As soon as I go in, he's walking in, and I'm quick. And I go through the door, and I just take off on him. Boom, boom. So he didn't expect me to take off on homie. I have long hair at the time, and when I take off on him, he kind of falls forward, but he turns around, and he goes for my hair. And this fool grabs my hair and pulls my hair down, and he starts uppercutting me. Boom, boom, boom. If he had a knife, he could have shanked me in my face. All of a sudden, like out of nowhere, aside of my eye, I'm kind of like down. I see the little homie come in, and he hit him with a two-piece. Boom, boom. While the homie hit him hard, and it split his eye, and his nose started leaking. So he got pissed because now he's like, these little midgets, they're T-rolling me. He gets the homie, and he throws him into the corner of the cell and starts trying to kick this fool. I see it. I get my composure and see it, and I grab this fool by the head, and I give him like 4 shots to the face. Boom, boom, boom. He's like, "You're jumping me. You're jumping me." I never seen such a big fool go into a panic mode. And then all the Sureños, he's not a Sureño, but he was a Mexican, and then you know how it goes. They call us race traders. So they ran up, and they didn't run in on us, but they were like, "You're not jumping no Mexican. You're not jumping no Mexican." So I get the homie, and we go out backwards just in case them fools try to hit us and try to take off on us. We go out backwards, and we go and we get out, and we go into the cell. Well, I see the Mexican fools and the Sureño, the Mexican fool hungry, talking to him. He has his shirt off, and he's leaking, bro, and literally they're talking. So I'm like, "Oh, these fools are tripping." They back this fool up. Well, then the homies start coming in, and somebody went to go towel him, because you started seeing fools come from the other side, and it almost turned into a group thing. Well, the fool that had majority of the keys, he comes up, for the lokes, and he's like, "What happened?" I told him, and he was like, "Oh yeah." He wanted to turn into a group thing, so he approached Hungry, and that fool Hungry was like, "Nah, we're not going to turn into a group thing. We don't want that kind of issues." Yeah, bro, we had to T-roll as midget little fools, because, we was midgets at the time, and, I wasn't as big as I was. We T-rolled. We had to chop that big old tree down. You know what I'm saying? And it was funny, bro, because after we went to the other side, because all kinds of stuff popped off, somebody that was talking to him was like, "Hey, bro," his self-esteem was messed up because he thought he was just going to demolish us. But we got the better of him, bro, and it was hilarious, man. But yeah, that was a crazy story. Hungry's big ass trying to go to war with the youngsters. You know what it is, your boy Savage.